Operation Timber Sycamore, how a CIA program helped Ahmed Aljolani rise to power. They called him a terrorist, a man with a $10 million US bounty on his head, but by 2025 was shaking hands with diplomats and ruling Syria with American approval. Former US Ambassador Robert Ford even admitted to holding secret meetings with Aljolani. So was this all part of a plan? Is Ahmed Aljolani a reformed militant or a CIA creation? In 2012, the CIA launched its largest covert operation since Afghanistan's 1980s, codenamed Timber Sycamore. It poured billions into arming and training Syrian rebels to topple Bashar al-Assad. Former US Ambassador to Syria Robert Ford dropped a bombshell. He had met privately with Ahmed Aljolani multiple times.
Three big messages. The first is going to be what to do about this guy who's the new president of Syria. First, this guy, as Roy said, was in Al-Qaeda in Iraq. That's him on the left in his Al-Qaeda guise. He was a senior Al-Qaeda commander up in northern Iraq in a city called Mosul. For Americans who were in Iraq, you might remember Mosul was one of the worst, nastiest places. The State Department actually lost 5 diplomatic personnel in 2 different car bombs up in Mosul during that time, and hundreds of American soldiers were killed or injured up in that Mosul area by this guy and his fighters. So, starting in 2023, a British non-government organization which specializes in conflict resolution invited me to help them bring this guy out of the terrorist world and into regular politics. So the first time I met him, this guy's name is nom de guerre was Ahmed Aljolani, but his actual name is Ahmed Shara, which he only revealed to the world after he captured Damascus in the Blitzkrieg of December 2024, about 5 months ago. First time I met him, I sat down next to him, and I'm literally as close as I am to Roy, and I said, this is all in Arabic, I said, never in a million years could I imagine that I would be sitting next to you. Long beard, in fatigues. And he looked at me, he speaks very softly, and he said, Wallah ana, me neither. And we went on and actually had a pretty civil conversation. I share this because he said something which really piqued my interest. He never apologized for the terrorist attacks in Iraq or in Syria, although there were many fewer in Syria. Never apologized. So that was in March 2023, just over 2 years ago. We went back a second time in September. How many of you ever saw a picture of the head of ISIS's wife, Ayad Baghdadi? He knew Ayad Baghdadi. He worked with him in Iraq. And Al-Qaeda, this guy, rejected elections, totally rejected elections in Iraq. And I was there organizing elections with the American government. And he rejected him. It was like blowing up polling stations. And he did not apologize for it. I want to emphasize that. The Turks are big friends of the Syrian government, of Ahmed Shara. There you can see the Turkish president when he met Shara after Shara captured Damascus and became the president. The Turks are talking about setting up a defense agreement with the new Syrian government and even putting Turkish fighter jets on bases inside Syria. And the point of it is, and the Turks are very open about it, to defend Syrian airspace. Now, who's violating Syrian airspace? Well, the Americans are in the east, but that's a different issue. But it's mostly the Israelis, as the event yesterday had. It is not impossible that Israel and Turkey are going to start shooting at each other in Syria. It is a genuine possibility. Turkey is an up-and-coming military power in the Middle East, and they won a big victory with their allies taking Damascus. And the Turks have things like drones. If you followed the Ukraine war, you know that the Ukrainians used to very good effect Turkish drones. The Turks make their own fighter aircraft. The Turks make a large variety of defense equipment, and they're selling it, and actually they're doing pretty well. And so if Henry Kissinger was looking at this, he'd say we have two military powers that have never fought each other, but that are now coming into contact in a place they never came into contact before, Syria. This is dangerous. I went to Syria in January. I met Ahmed the president then. We still have out here about 1,400 American soldiers. They went in February 2015. They have now been there for more than 10 years. Well, Obama sent them there to fight ISIS because at the time, ISIS controlled all of this. Syrian Democratic Forces is a Syrian Kurdish militia, among others. This is a picture of them. This is after they seized a city from ISIS. This picture is from 2017, so this is 8 years ago. That why we are there now is to protect, and the militia has set up its own government in northeastern Syria. The whole area in the purple is controlled by that Kurdish Workers' Party affiliate militia in Syria. With American air cover, do we owe the Syrian Democratic Forces an indefinite military commitment and indefinite protection? Two things to think about. Number one, they were great allies against ISIS. I want to be very clear about that. They were brave fighters. They're very organized. They responded extremely well to working with the American military. That's why the American military loves them so much. They really helped in the war on ISIS. They took 11,000 casualties fighting ISIS. 11,000 dead, not just casualties, 11,000 dead. They sacrificed a lot. This was all controlled by ISIS. Now it's not. It's essentially controlled by that militia with the American military behind them. Do we owe them? Because I hear members of Congress say that a lot. We owe them. I'm sorry, I'm a realist. We owe nothing to foreigners. We owe only to ourselves. However, there are often times when we share interests. There are often times when we share interests, and we should work with them. I don't care if it's NATO or if it's South Korea, whatever. If we share an interest, then obviously work with them. But right now, ISIS is gone. ISIS was a problem for that Kurdish militia. They were attacking Kurdish cities and Kurdish towns. They were killing Kurds. Of course they wanted American help. They were right to want American help, and we did help them. But now that's essentially finished. So do we need to stay there? Do we still share an interest? And do we have a national interest in getting in the middle of a war between Turkey, with a population of 90 million and one of the G20 biggest economies in the world, and this particular militia? Do we really want to be in the middle of that? So here's an example. This is the Kurdish commander. This is our guy. This is our guy, Muslim Abdi. Shara signed a deal with him a month ago, which said, we're not going to fight each other. We're going to merge eastern Syria back into the rest of Syria peacefully. We're going to merge the militias back into the Syrian army. The Kurdish militia is going to be merged. They'll be paid. We're going to merge the administrations in eastern Syria with the rest of Syria, and we're going to do it peacefully.
RAND Cooperation report from 2018 had proposed empowering local Islamist actors to stabilize Syria. Was Jolani their man all along? Operation Timber Sycamore armed him. Robert Ford met with him. Washington now backs him. From terrorist to statesman, Ahmed Aljolani's story raises a chilling question. Did the CIA create Syria's new leader? What do you think? Was Jolani groomed as a CIA asset? Comment below.